What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another Roblox Studio video. In this one, we're going to be going over the new Roblox update that features removing surfaces from parts. So you know the option where you were able to put studs on the surface of one of your parts, or the top of it, the bottom of it, any side, or you were able to put inlets or universal surfaces, anything like that. They remove that. And so in this video, I'm going to show you guys a way that you can still access them and some reasons why I think they remove surfaces. Okay, so I mean, surfaces have been around on Roblox for a really long time, pretty much since its dawn. In 2004 and 2005, there were basically raised parts out of the brick, like they were actually 3D. And then since then, they removed that and they became flat like this. They were round and they had an R on them, and that's one of the classic ones you might see in nostalgic games. Or I think there's one called Nostalgic Roblox or something like that. You can find parts like this or the old versions and styles like this. But these have been around forever. It used to be the case that when you'd load up a part, it'd automatically come up with studs on it. Like you'd have to actually change it to smooth for it to be smooth like this. And I think it would load the color on it properly. It would just always have studs on it. And if you ever wanted to change it to universal or any other ones, you'd have to manually do that. And pretty much for a pretty long while, parts with studs on them were only really used for style on Roblox, and it kind of set what Roblox looked like back in the day. I don't know what it was for any specific reason, but that's just how it was. Maybe to give it that Lego feel or that blocky feel, make it feel like a blocky physics engine. So now that you know a little bit about the studs and surfaces in general, I can get into how you can actually keep studs onto your parts and how you can still access them. The bad thing about this though is that you need a part that still has studs on it or one of those surfaces. So you cannot access it if it's smooth, and you'll see why in a second. So what I'm going to have you do is make sure properties are open by going to view, and right next to the big explore button, or you'll see them, they're two huge buttons on the view in the view tab. And you're going to want to make sure properties is highlighted with whatever theme you have. It'll be a darker box around it. So you click that and then you open up properties, and it should be on the right side of your screen by default. Make sure you have the stud part selected. It has to be a part with surfaces, remember. And you want to scroll down all the way in properties until you see surface down here. The drop down will probably be closed. So we're going to open that drop down, and then we're going to have access to all of our surfaces. Now, surface used to be up here with the part section, or if it was in home, it'd be in the edit section. And you'd be able to drop down surface, and you'd be able to apply that surface to any part that you wanted to. Now, you have to go down here, and I never knew this was an option originally until now, until I started looking. But that is going to be the method of how we are still able to use the surfaces, because obviously we don't have the option to actually click a drop down and apply it to our parts anymore. And here's what happens when you set it to smooth. We have our surfaces here. Watch this. But if I were to change all of these surfaces to smooth, you're gonna watch what happens. Basically gonna disappear. Boom, there it goes. No more access to studs. And if I load up a part with smooth plastic and no surfaces or anything, even if I was to do it with plastic, let's load it up with plastic. It does not have surfaces on it in the properties. The smooth plastic one does not have surfaces. And that's because I eliminated that by having all smooth surfaces. With studs, once I still have studs as an option, it still recognizes all the other surfaces available, because I guess it has to like incorporate all of them, because that's the original code. I wouldn't know the exact reason, but I'm guessing that's the reason. And so I have some reasons for why I think they remove surfaces in Studio. And my first one is that Roblox probably doesn't want their game to look as old as it did before, with all the new updates and features that they've added and worked on. And they've been working on them for quite a while now. Some of these features include updating these default materials, default texturing abilities on parts over here. I have one here, but I don't have it set up, but regular textures like this on parts. And PBR textures, which enhance realism. And this is on a mesh part, because they can only be used on mesh parts. There will be a video in the future covering this as well, and how you guys can use that. And I'm not sure if they've completely released PBR textures yet, because last time I checked, They were a beta feature, but I did check a little bit earlier, right before the video, but right before I recorded, and it wasn't on the beta feature list anymore, so it might be released. But look how realistic this looks, dude. And I can see why they'd remove surfaces and push people to use this. It looks like I'm actually looking at pavement and stone right now. And my second reason for why they might have removed surfaces is the functionality of surfaces like hinge, weld, and glue have pretty much been replaced by the new constraints and new physics that Roblox has worked on and added. By the way, go check out my physics videos. They're doing pretty well. And if you want to learn about physics, you can go check those out. I'll link them, or you can just click videos and go check them out. These function a lot better than the ones that you'll find as a surface. So actually, let me go show you an example. If I go to this part, change the surface real quick, go to the top surface and change it to hinge, it's right in the middle. Now I have to line it up with all the other parts that I want to attach to it, which makes it really difficult. With this hinge constraint, I can place it anywhere on the part and attach it anywhere else. So these are much more advanced, and they wouldn't really have a need for these surfaces anymore. My third and final reasoning is that these surfaces can't be used on meshes. I honestly hope they don't remove surfaces entirely, because people still want to make old games. I guess you can technically say that they can just slap a texture on it and use an image of the old studs or something if they wanted to. That's entirely true. It's a little bit more work, but at the same time, kind of nostalgic feel for you guys. And if you want to build with studs, I guess if they kept it around, at least in the properties or specifically with these parts, that would be kind of nice. I don't know what they do. I don't know what they'll do in the future. Maybe they'll remove it entirely. Who knows? But all I know is that we just went over surfaces, why they got removed, and how you can still use them in Roblox Studio. And so I hope you guys learned something in this video about surfaces. Maybe it's something about their history, maybe it's about accessing them in the properties and being able to change them still. Either way, I hope you guys learned something or this helped you, and if it did, please make sure to like, subscribe, and share the video with your friends. Share the video with anyone wondering what happened to surfaces. And so yeah, that's gonna do it, and I hope to see you in the next video. See ya.